Welcome back to my channel. As always, I am very excited for today's video, and this one is extra exciting because I'm actually bringing it back to the fitness realm. I know sometimes I get off track and just do some lifestyle stuff because, quite honestly, it's the easiest thing to do at that time, but I really wanted to start being more consistent with the fitness industry because that is what I do. I'm a personal trainer, if you aren't already aware. You know, fitness is my life, fitness is my passion, and I want to share more valuable content with you guys. That's what today's video is going to be. But before we get into it, if this is your first time seeing my face, hi, my name is Samantha, or Sammy for short, and like I already said, I am a certified personal trainer. I am also a young mom, so some of my content does revolve around that. So if either or both of those things are of any interest to you, then please hit the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be informed when I upload all of my future content. You can also go ahead and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Sammy for short. Now with all that being said and out of the way, let's jump in to the video. So as you can tell from the title, this video is going to be about unilateral and bilateral movements, and what they are and what the difference between them is, and the benefits slash which one is better for you. And spoiler alert, neither is better necessarily. They both have their benefits to them. We're going to start with bilateral, which is what most people start with. So all bilateral means is both sides. So instead of alternating or doing one or the other, you're doing both sides at the same time. The benefits of doing exercises like this are that it allows for greater loading, which produces a greater force. It allows for better stability because you're distributing your body mass between both sides. And this is often the easiest for beginners to learn. Like I said, this is kind of your starting point. So some example exercises of this would be a double bicep curl, squats, hip thrusts, and deadlifts. Now moving on to unilateral movements. Unilateral means one side. So this would be a single arm or a single leg movement. The benefits of doing a unilateral exercise as opposed to a bilateral exercise is that you actually get to train both sides equally. And I know that seems kind of confusing because you're like, well, if you're doing both at the same time, wouldn't that be equal? And to that, I would say I understand your thought process, but when you really think about it, when you do a bilateral movement and you're doing both sides at the same time, so say you're doing an overhead press, using both arms at the same time, we all know that we have a dominant and a recessive side. The dominant side is going to generally take over, and you're going to feel it more on one side, and it's going to kind of overcompensate for the other part of your body. Now again, there's nothing wrong with bilateral movements. You still should be incorporating them, but you do have to be aware of that, and you also have to be adding those unilateral movements alongside of it to strengthen both sides as best you can. And remember, with that bilateral movement, you are able to have better stabilization to begin with as a starter, and then you add the unilateral to help strengthen. So another benefit of a unilateral movement is that this really helps to isolate and correct any muscle imbalances. So like we were saying, one side being stronger than the other. And it is a great way to prevent injury. Some examples of unilateral exercises could be split squats, single leg RDLs, single arm curls, and a single arm row. So basically any exercise that you're doing on one side, and you can take most bilateral movements and turn them into a unilateral movement. And with all of that being said, in conclusion, I know based on everything I just said, it sounds like, oh, you should just do unilateral movements because it has the most benefits. You should be incorporating both. I usually recommend you start with the bilateral movement, and then you can even easily superset it right after with the single side. Or even if it's not a superset, maybe you do all your reps and sets of the bilateral movement and then turn it into a unilateral movement, and that's a big chunk of your workout. And then you can do that with almost any exercise you want to. But you still want to incorporate both. Again, with the unilateral movement, you are better able to equally target both sides of the body. But on the same coin, with the bilateral movement, you are able to work on better stabilization, which, if you're familiar at all with NASM's OPT model, which I'm actually going to be doing my next video on, so stay tuned for that. With the OPT model, we start at stabilization. So that's where we want most people to start with, and a lot of people kind of skip over that part and go straight to strength. So that's why I am really emphasizing the importance of still doing bilateral movements, just accompanying them with your unilateral movements. So I know this was a pretty quick video, but I hope you guys found it helpful in some way. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. And while you're at it, make sure you give this video a like and share with your friends. And that's it. So with all that being said, I'm going to go, but before I do, I want to remind you all to stay positive, be active, and most importantly, do what keeps you healthy.